Hi, I am Pim, and I will guide you through this tutorial. In this tutorial, we will look at how you can use the so-called process node to make WEM send an email. How can you configure the process node? How can you generate the body of the email to be sent? And how can you use your own email address as the sending email address? Let's get started. The first step is to create a flowchart for sending an email. The idea is to create logic for sending an email to one of the contacts in the CRM application we created in the first tutorial. Now, let's connect this flowchart to the contact list we created in the first tutorial. This allows the user to send an email to any of the contacts. The next step is to create the logic for sending the email. WEM has a special node for this. The process node. If you drag the process node on the canvas, you get to choose from a variety of actions. You can use the process node, for instance, to generate Word documents or PDFs. In our case, however, we will use the process node to generate an email. Now, on the right side of the canvas, you see a variety of properties you can set. We will start with setting the email address from which the email will be sent. Next, we will set the email address to which the email will be sent. This email address, we want the user to be able to provide. So we'll create a session field for this. A session field is a temporary field, not part of a database list, which will only hold its value during the current session. The value will not be stored in the database. We drag an interaction node to the canvas to create a screen, which will ask the user to enter the email address. We add a send email exit. We also add a cancel exit to allow the user to cancel the operation. We connect the cancel exit directly to the end node, which will return to the contact screen in which the user initiated this operation. Now, let's open the template editor by double-clicking the interaction node. We create a form where the user can enter the email address. We select the dot in front of the email address. This will not only make it a mandatory field, it will also enforce the email address validation rule, which we selected when creating the field. This forces the user to enter a valid email address. Now, we return to our process node and drag the email address session field to the property, which defines the email address to which the email will be sent. We finish the process node by setting the title of the email. The final step in configuring the process node is to define the body of the mail. WEM uses the same mechanism for this, it uses for screens. So the next step is to open the template editor by clicking the Edit Template button. Here, you have exactly the same options you have when designing a screen. Let's start with a salutation for the email. Since we are creating the email for a specific contact, we can simply drag the name of the contact on the canvas. And now, we can simply create our product list by creating a data grid based on the product data list from the ERP system we integrated within the first tutorial. Let's change the style of the unit price to better present the data to the user. And I finish the email with regards from myself. Now, it is time to test our new functionality by previewing our application. Let's send an email to Sarah. I enter my own email address. This allows us to immediately view if the email actually gets sent. Now, the email is sent. Let's view the result in my mailbox. As you can see, the email arrived all right. We can see the provided title of the email, product list. We can see, the salutation contains the full name of Sarah, as contained in our contact database. We can see the list of products and prices. And when we scroll down, we can see that my regards are added to the bottom of the email. So far our application works fine. But there is one issue. As the sending email address, we have used no reply at wem.io. I can imagine you want to use an email address from your own organization instead. Of course, you can simply enter another email address here. That might, however, cause problems. To understand these problems, and to understand how you can solve them, we need to take a look at how WEM sends those emails. WEM uses the mail server from the WEM company to send emails to the mail server of the recipient. So far so good. Now, what happens if you supply an email address from your own organization? In that case WEM will still use the same mail server to send the email message. And that might cause the receiving mail server to block the email. Why? Because the domain of the mail server does not match the domain of the sending email address. Next question is, how can we solve this? The answer is relatively easy. We need to tell WEM to use your company's mail server instead. Because in that case, the domains of the mail server and the sending email address do match again. Now, how can we do that? We can change the mail server WEM will be using. First we need to add our own mail server to the workspace of our project. To do so, we need to go back to the home screen of the modeler. To get there, we click the name of our project in the upper left corner. Next, we click the Manage Projects and Workspaces button. Here, we find My Personal Workspace. We click the three dots belonging to that workspace and select SMTP Settings. Here, you can add details of the mail server of your organization. Your IT department, or your provider, can provide you with the host name and port number of the mail server. Username and password usually match the credentials you use to log into your webmail. After adding our mail server, we can connect it to our portal. We return to our project and open our project settings. Mail servers can be connected to separate portals in your project. By default the WEM mail server is connected. We can change that by clicking the current mail server setting. After connecting our own mail server to our portal, we can safely let WEM use our own email address as a sending address. This concludes this tutorial. I hope you liked it. We are happy to receive your feedback. And we are open for any questions you have. You can contact us at support@pim21.com.